Okay, for our sixth motion, be it resolved, religious mythology is indistinguishable from fairy tales. Our Prime Minister Gurjot will speak for 2 minutes.
Well, it's Gurjot, and thank you, Madam Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty straightforward that religious mythology is indistinguishable from fairy tales, and I might add, these are not the best kind of fairy tales. And across the board, all the religious mythologies around the world, if you will see, they always have this kind of all the imaginary characters or protagonists whose birth, if you say that, is often denies all the facts, biological facts. They are born of virgin mothers, and then throughout their life, what is being shown on all these mythologies is totally fact. Is totally denies all the facts. It's totally imaginary, and all the acts they perform. It's constant throughout all the religions that they always perform miracles, causing the floods, stopping the floods, flying, and all those other things that totally denies all the facts. And on the top of that, they have been thrusted upon the people that they have to believe it's true most of the times, and you can't even talk about them pretty often in open, that without offending people, and all these, and there is no any true or any fact that you can say that you see, and when you have to believe in that, it's that what you get is that it's totally imaginary world, that you can't identify yourself with any of those characters or can actually see that you can perform those things that these people are doing, and it's totally baseless, I would say, on the fact that you can't. If you see people around you, the world history or legends, you know that it's totally refutable, and I would say the worst kind of fairy tale or imaginary stories.
Thank you, Gurjot. And now the leader of the opposition, Dean, will speak for 2 minutes.
3 minutes.
Oh, sorry, 3 minutes.
Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Prime Minister, we are discussing that religious mythology is indistinguishable from fairy tales. And we've been given the case that these are imaginary characters, the protagonists of the religious stories and the fairy tales. They're not realistic. There's a disregarding of facts, that they have superpowers, and that many people can't identify with these characters. Well, the first thing I'd like to say is, in regards to not identifying with the characters, since fairy tales and religious stories both come from an oral tradition, I think that what we can see is that it is important to highlight specific characteristics that are memorable to people. Now, in terms of religious mythology, in many cases, the point is to have either a people or a religious group think about the individual and aim to be like that individual or unlike that individual, depending on the goodness or evil character of the person. And one could argue that, well, in fairy tales you have the big bad wolf and you have Red Riding Hood and the like. You don't necessarily aspire to be those people as such. Fairy tales are entertainment for people, particularly nowadays. Yes, they could have been used as far as scaring children in the Grimm's fairy tale history, but the purpose of religious mythology is to take the character, take the story, move it forward, and aim towards a final condition to aim for as a human being. So Jesus, for example, is in the Bible, or the Muhammad for the Quran, that these are people who are human and do actually exist in real life, and people are encouraged to become like them, to be like them, and to think about them when they go about their daily business. Now, fairy tales, on the other hand, you don't have talking wolves, you don't have carriages that turn into pumpkins and vice versa. This is particularly a flight of fancy. And whether it's used for entertainment or teaching lessons, it's using imagination specifically to create the image, to create the reality, in quotes. Mythology is not.
Thank you, Dean. And now our Prime Minister will speak for 1 minute.
Leader of opposition, I think, made it clear, so he didn't deny the fact that religious mythologies are not fairy tales. So he just described the purpose they solve. One is entertainment, one is talking more about morality and how to live your life. But I didn't hear any point that they are different. As he took the examples of Jesus, or there can be dozens of other examples that can be taken from all the religions or mythologies around the world. And these are like fairy tales, like imaginary characters, that where you don't tell that, okay, the birth of Jesus or other figures has not been biological, like Virgin Mary, and also when they die, they don't die, they come back again. So that's a fairy tale right over there, that they're not dying, they can come back again, and it's not over yet. So I don't see any point. I think the same point has been made, that they are fairy tale, but the purpose is different. Thank you.
Thank you, Gurjot. Okay, can I see a show of hands for the motion? And against the motion? It's a tie. So I'm going to go against the motion, Dean.